Hey guys, and welcome to Over or Under, the podcast where we discuss whether your player, moment, or team is overrated or underrated. And joining me today, or should I say, on the chopping block today is Manchester United, or should I say, Aston Villa's Marcus Rashford. Helping me to do this dissection of the player is my good friend Princeton Wiredu. Princeton, welcome to Over or Under.
Thank you, Leroy. And it's nice to be on the show. And thanks for having me as well. Hope
Yeah.
we'll have a good time.
Yeah. I'm also expecting to have a great time. The reason we are here is to discuss our good friend Marcus Rashford. Well, I say friend, but he's a very good player. Unfortunately, he's come under a lot of scrutiny in the last 2 seasons. But first off, Princeton, let me just get your opening thoughts. Do you think he's overrated, or do you think he is an underrated player?
I think that his Rashford's career is quite an intriguing one. If you look at the way he started as a player, I mean, was compared to one of the greats, Thierry Henry.
Yeah.
Even in his among his peers, he was compared to Kylian Mbappe, who many believe he's the best footballer in the world. But I mean, if the talent is there, I don't think that is in doubt. He is a talented player, and I don't think that any way to describe him as a footballer is wrong. I don't think that people are overestimating his talent. If it comes to that, that is the truth. But mine, I see it more of unfulfilling career so far. I always say that, my standard. But I mean, as a player, I don't think that he's been so much overhyped. The talent is there, and he's not lived up to it.
Yeah.
And I don't think that people have really raised his standards or his bar. He has just been unable to reach that. I mean, I go back to how he started as a player. He rose so fast, and I think that has probably been the undoing of him. Just at the age of 15, he was training with the Man United first team. Even before that, the club broke their own rule by signing him underage. I mean, it was quite very shocking and interesting that the players like Pogba, Lingard didn't get that opportunity to join the first team at that age. So Rashford really broke into the scene just because of the talent that he has. Just at 17, he became the youngest scorer for United in Europe when they beat PSV in the Europa League, beating George Best's record. So I mean, all these good stats again. I mean, he just even before he made his debut for the national team, he added to the squad for the Euros. So I mean, playing alongside Wayne Rooney, I remember that famous first goal for them. Rooney was wearing number 19 jersey, and he was wearing the number 9 jersey. Already, he was handed over an iconic jersey number. So I mean, the stats was incredible. It just tells you how talented he is as a player. But as I mentioned, I don't think that it's overstated. It is clear that he's a talented player, but it's not been a fulfilling career so far, at least at Manchester United.
I agree with you that at Manchester United, he hasn't really lived up to the hype. But I think I look at it and I say to myself, especially when I look at his stats, any other team or any other player would look at these kinds of stats and say that this guy is a legend. He's done an incredible job at the club. He's 47th overall in EPL goal scoring. He's ahead of Eden Hazard. Sure, Eden Hazard had, I think, 2 seasons less than Rashford, but still, he has 2 more goals ahead of Eden Hazard. If Eden Hazard probably stayed at Chelsea, maybe he would have been able to get to that level, maybe even surpass it and finally reach 100 goals. We do not know, but for now, Eden Hazard is behind him. And being 47th in all EPL is something to look at and say, this is a good player. This is a very, very good player. He also scored over 100 goals for Manchester United. I feel like when you look at him from sort of like a broad scope, you can look at him and say, yes, this guy is a very good player, very talented player, and deserves all the credit that comes to him. But unfortunately, he plays for Manchester United, where the level is for a star player seems to be completely different. I feel like when the fans are trying to compare him to players that he technically, I believe, isn't at their level. And I feel like it's kind of unfair to the player in general.
I mean, it's on point. In a way, it's on point. I mean, if you look at his stats, his numbers, as we were mentioning,
Yeah.
he's among the top players. In fact, at Manchester United, he scored 138 goals in 426, about 26 games. He ranks just behind Cristiano Ronaldo, who one of the greatest players of all time.
Yeah.
You know, Ronaldo at Man United, peak peak Ronaldo, that's where he started. So, I mean, if behind Ronaldo is something great, but I don't think that if you before Ronaldo was joining Man United, I mean returning, United fans were so glad to have him back because they know what they were getting. They know the sort of legacy he left even before he went to Madrid. But I don't think that Man United fans would want Rashford back as a footballer, as a player into the squad. It's not just about the numbers he will produce or he's produced for them. Ronaldo left memories for United fans.
No, but if we are
Left
talking about
memories.
memories, that PSG match was something to look at and something to sort of say that is a moment I will never forget as a Manchester United fan. That 4
Yeah,
0 comeback
I mean, yeah, I
against
get
your
it.
club, Barcelona, by the way.
Yeah, but I see, what was the end of it? There was no trophy. And so you mentioned that you had a good season. Yes, every player, most players have good seasons, but at the end of the day, you really have to win something. They didn't win the trophy that season. They didn't win the Europa League. You made mention of the one they eliminated Barca, which was his best season for Manchester United, 30 goals
Yeah.
in the season under Eric Ten Hag in 2020, 23 season. So, but it was still an underwhelming season for the club. So, I mean, as I mentioned, you don't see, and you see, he started right from the club as an academy talent. Cristiano Ronaldo came from outside. So you will expect him to reach higher ceiling than Cristiano Ronaldo. I honestly believe that Rashford was a better, I mean, starter. I mean, in terms of talent. I'm not saying he's talented than Ronaldo, but I'm saying that at that age and the way he started at Man United, he started more than Cristiano Ronaldo. And so the ceiling was much higher for him. He should have he could have done better for the club, but I mean it doesn't speak well. And I mean, even if the results were not coming, the attitude on the field, the willingness, the edge to perform wasn't there. But Ronaldo was always there for the club. He was taking on players, he was doing what the managers were saying, he was training well before games. Those are the things that Rashford is not putting up, and it's 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 it rings more bell than even the goals that he will score for the club. And that's why I'm saying that if people are judging him, it means that um he could have done something better. I was
Yeah,
looking through the
but
numbers.
I think Rashford is a winner.
Before,
He's
before,
won the Europa League. He's won 2 FA Cups and 2 Carabao Cups. He is a winner. He has won trophies for Manchester United. It's not like he has not gotten he hasn't won anything like, let's say, for a Hurricane, who we still look at as one of the greatest strikers in the world because of his contributions in terms of goals. Harry Kane has won. Rashford has won trophies with Manchester United. Don't have to look at that and say that look, he's done what he can in a team that doesn't really suit him with coaches, who don't really suit him or his style of play. Because right now we are looking at his early signs at Aston Villa, and we are saying that yeah, he's doing quite better at Aston Villa than he did at Manchester United. And you could also look at Anthony and the rest who've left Manchester United and right now are thriving. Anthony, McTominay. Okay, let me not. McTominay was doing well at Manchester United, but when he left and went to Napoli, he's even doing much more than we expected of him. So could you please say that Rashford is also sort of like being hampered by his environment?
Yes, I think that is absolutely true. The two things are right at the same time. The club itself is in shambles. The environment is quite toxic over there. So I think players are suffering from that, and Rashford is a victim of it. If the players you've mentioned, they've all played Man United, and the environment hasn't helped. If you perform well, it's overshadowed by what the club is going through. And you see, they are not winning, and anything is everything is turning bad for them. You see, he's played under how many coaches? About 8 coaches
Yeah.
since 2016.
Yeah.
So I mean that few people will thrive under these circumstances. Few people will thrive under it, and I think that the club has failed to manage the environment well and put structures in place to make sure that talent will thrive. It's not just him, a lot of them, Jadon Sancho, Mason Greenwood, all have struggled in the club. So, I mean, there a lot of changes have come. Many of them are bad. Remember, Cristiano Ronaldo lamented even the infrastructure lapses in the team.
Yeah.
And we at the outside, thought that Ronaldo was a bit he was too unrealistic and very demanding. But I think that he was pointing some things that were very critical, and probably that is why the club is suffering. So yes, that is another conversation. He was playing under with a club that was totally mismanaged. And so you can't really blame him in some circumstances for that. And I think that is why probably he fall off, or he fell out of love with the game, because you could see it on the field of play. When he's playing, he's not willing to fight for the club. But Aston Villa, a new environment really changes something. It is very, very important. When you change your environment, it does something to you. And I think that under Unai Emery, he's revived a lot of players' career. So it's not surprising at all.
Yeah.
But at Man United, the situation was very bad. And yeah, sometimes it's good to change the environment. And it tells us that he's naturally not a bad player. He's not solely overrated. It is just a good player found himself under a wrong management, and that is how it ended for him at the club. And I was also looking at again how the talents are managed over there. His lifestyle outside the club he was missing training sessions because 48 hours before match days he will be at the night club and all of that. Something the club, I think, didn't really manage well. You get my point. Other players do that, and Rashford himself feels that, look, I am living the life of a normal Premier League player who clubs every week, goes to wherever they want to go. But it looks like the scrutiny is too much on me. And yes, in some way, you say that you are playing for Man United, and so certainly there will be eyes on you. So you really have to manage yourself. But I mean, the club hasn't really done enough for these players to thrive. And I think that is what has really hurt Rashford's career at Manchester United.
Yeah, looking at Rashford, Another thing that has been said about him is his inconsistency. I tend not to really look at it and say that, yeah, he is an inconsistent player, because looking at the stats, purely at the stats, I'm sure people would say usually game by game there are certain differences between Rashford. But if he's getting the results on the pitch, doesn't can't we look at it and say that there are other reasons as to why, like we said, the management system having around like 8 coaches come at different times with different ideas as to how to play the game will have an effect on him because his first season, that was in the 15-16 season, he played 18 matches, 8 games, 8 goals, 2 assists. That's 10 goal contribution. 16-17, he played around 53 games where he scored 11 and scored 5. 17-18, 52 games, 13 goals, 8 assists. 18-19, 47 games, 13 goals, 7 assists. 19-20, 22 goals, 9 assists in 44 games. 2021, that we had 21 goals, 13 assists in 57 games. 21-22, 32 games, 5 goals, 2 assists. I think this is when we can come to when he started being a lot more inconsistent. Then we come to the 22-23 season where he had his best goal contribution, 30 goals, 9 assists in 56 games. Then 23-24 season, 43 games, 8 goals, 5 assists. And then currently this season, he's played 31 games, 7 goals, 6 assists. Looking at this, I can say that he hasn't really been an inconsistent player until probably the 21-22 season, just before he sort of got his best goal contribution record. What do you think? Hello, Princeton. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I didn't get your question.
Yeah, I was saying that looking at all his records from start to the finish, he has made a lot. I can say that his inconsistency started around 2021, 2022, just before he had his best goal scoring or goal contribution record. When you look at this, don't you think that maybe we calling him inconsistent is a bit of a stretch?
Yeah, I think yes, certainly the numbers are so as with the reception of the 21 season. Let's not forget that he's had a good number of injuries, and that best season followed his exclusion from the England squad for the Euros, and I think that he had a point to prove, and so he really had to step up for the club. But recently, that is where the problems have started for him. The inconsistency in management at the club, and that has not really made him a settled player on the field of play. This manager will come in, he's playing to the middle, and then the next manager is playing from the left-hand side. I remember people blamed his dip in form when Alexis Sanchez arrived at the club, and they felt that he was given too much competition and they didn't really have the time to grow as a player. The likes of Marshall were also in the ranks, and that only gonna associate when Sancho also joined. There was a big dilemma for Solskjaer to play Rashford on the right hand side because Sancho also operates very, very well from the left hand side. And so these things have not really helped him as a player. Although in recent times, I think he's also done well playing through the middle, especially with Bruno Fernandes behind him. He's had a good service from the lad until his recent slump at the club. But again, I think the outside factors have really hurt him. I was looking at how saying again how he's not willing to play anymore. He's lost that edge. And I was reading a story about when the Eric Ten Hag assistant McLaren was having a mini training tournament at Carrington, and Rashford's team was in your final. The man told Rashford that it's on you for your side to win. And he said, no, why are you putting it on me? Why should I lead this team to win this one? So I mean, I think that he really fall out of it, and he lost something at the club. And now the numbers for me are a reflection of a player who was no more willing to fight for the club, and the inconsistency in management has also been the factor of Rashford. I think that he also has himself to be blamed in some way. He's not really put up a fight as regards fighting for a club that gave him this livelihood.
Okay, so Princeton and guys, we are joined by Jones Adzi. He's a Manchester United fan. We were having an interesting discussion just before we came on, or should I say online, where we were discussing who was going to win the Arsenal Manchester United match. Finally, it ended in a draw, 1-1. Jones, what's up? How did you find the result?
He was in hot seat, so he couldn't even join.
he was enjoying the match, so he couldn't. Jones.
Yeah. I mean, it was. I think it's a. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So I was saying that it was a fair game. I'm sorry, network is so bad, so I'd have to be moving around. But then it was a fair game, and I think that it was good. Obviously, we knew United were going to defend, and we could have actually clinched it in the last minute. Good goalkeeping from Raya. Arsenal can win the league. If this was their time, this was the time for Arsenal to win the league. And I actually predicted at the start of the season that they were going to win the league. And we saw. I expected this to happen to Man City. I expected Man City to fall off, and they did fall off. We saw injuries coming. We saw how much. I was expecting that to happen. I was expecting Arsenal to be top, regardless of this match. And I mean, sadly enough, they are nowhere near Liverpool. Charlie, that's now. You guys, they try. Charlie, you and Gasa, they try. As a national fan, you are doing very well.
Charlie. So yeah, we are discussing about Rashford and whether he is an overrated player or an underrated player. I tend to think that maybe the fans have put in a lot of expectation on a very good player, expecting a very good player to be an exceptional player like Wayne Rooney or Cristiano Ronaldo. As a Manchester United fan, what do you make of this? Do you think that he is an overrated player?
So let me just start by asking you to give me a consistent English player that just mention 3 consistent English players right now. Yeah, I'm going to give you the time. Mention 3 consistent English players who have not been injured.
Okay.
Saka is injured, so that's not consistent. He's injured. He's not around.
Okay.
So he's not part. I want you to mention those who are playing now. 3 consistent English players.
Jude Bellingham. I would say he hasn't been consistent this season. He hasn't been that consistent this season.
Right. Jude Bellingham is consistent.
Has he been consistent this season?
Exactly.
Yeah, he's not really been up to scratch this season. Yeah, thinking about it, I don't think I know. I can point to an English player and say, okay, this guy has been consistent. Princeton, can you?
An English player, consistent English player.
A consistent English player. Can you think of one?
I think Harry Kane. I'll mention Harry Kane.
Harry Kane, yes. Harry Kane is
individually one. He's had consistent career for his clubs, yeah.
Jones, can you hear me? Hello, Jones. Can you hear me? Jones, we can't hear you. It seems like your audio is off. Hello?
It's yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
Okay.
a network.
Okay. So you were saying?
All right. Sorry, I was sitting in the porch. Is it better now?
Yeah, it's better now.
All right. So I was saying that when you look, I think it's an English thing. First of all, it's an English thing. You see Manchester United, you look at a player like Bruno Fernandes. Even in this bad team, Bruno Fernandes has been consistent, scoring and delivering, even in all the from Ole Gunnar's time up until now. He's been consistent. You can't say that for any English player. I mean, we talked about Harry Kane. Harry Kane is a super goal scorer and all that.
Hello. Okay, he seems to be having connectivity problems. Princeton.
He's shown that.
Okay.
So I think first of all, it's a cultural thing. And you know, what you are not, oh my God. But
yeah, Jones. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. So I was saying that first of all, I think it's a cultural thing. And look at the Arsenal players all over the years. Most of them, I mean, they start very well. It's the Premier League is a good thing. The Premier League is a good for some good run. You get a good run, and then everyone is praising, everyone is talking about you, and they say, "Wow, this guy is on form."
Hello? Hello, Jones. Oh, crap. Jones, can you try putting off the video again? I think it was better when you were okay. Okay, Princeton. So let's continue. So like we've said, Rashford has been from my opinion, think that he's been overrated. I think he's a very good player who has been sort of elevated to something he is not, especially when you bring the price, or should I say his wages, into the picture. He's on a lot of money at Manchester United. So you, with that amount of money, there are certain expectations of the player. But I think that they overpriced him, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he's an English boy, so local boy, started very, very well, became a superstar within a short period of time. So I mean, you have to understand, and you see, Jones made mention of a cultural problem in England. It's a general problem over there. I think that they really overhire players. So even if you are narrowing it down to Rashford, I don't think we are fair to him. It is even a general problem in England that they seem to overprice players that are no way up to the standard that we see them to be. So Manchester United born player burst onto the scene, and now he's on a £420,000 salary.
Yeah.
What is there again to achieve? And let's not forget that outside the field, he's played some critical roles in the communities or in the country. I remember in 2020 when the UK government cancelled the school feeding program for kids. Rashford raised about 40 million pounds to keep feeding the kids. So I mean, it's all part of it. I honestly don't think that he himself is he's a bad player. He's certainly a good player.
Yeah.
But he suffered from cultural lapses in there, and that is why we saw this. Jones is back.
Yeah, Jones is back. Jones, you were making a point.
Yeah. I have to sit somewhere where the network is good. So yeah. Right. So I was just saying that it is a cultural thing. let's the players who have made the English Premier League what it is are non-English players.
Yeah.
And it is just a blessing to find. That is why you can't get a consistent Arsenal player. Sorry. How do I keep saying Arsenal? You can't get a consistent English player in the English national team because after some time you see Oli Watkins in there. He's doing well, he's performing, and then he called for this other striker who comes in and said, "Wow, this guy is performing. Let's bring him in." It keeps on going. The second really helped some of these players. So the advantage for Rashford is a good. Trust me, if Rashford with the quality he has starts playing from Ghana, he will not make it. He will not get anywhere. He won't get anywhere. If Rashford with the quality he has starts playing in Brazil, he won't get anywhere because he doesn't first of all have that discipline. He doesn't have that discipline to be out there as a player. He's good. Let's not take away the fact that he's good. Geographically, it was good that he came up from the United Academy and all that, and yes, and then he had a spotlight on him. So he told me that I should even say that he's underrated. We should not even rate him. But and I think he's overrated. Sorry, he's overrated. And I'm a United fan. I love him. I mean, I love our United players. But then when it comes to us being factual, for us to speak truth, I feel that Rashford has a lot more to do. He has to learn. And then he has to know that, see, it gets to a point as an English player, your momentum comes down, and then you would have to find somewhere else to be. And now we have a coach who is a no-nonsense coach. Amorim has shown us that even with the squad that he has, a lot of injuries, he could have decided that let's overlook it. That is what Ten Hag was doing. Rashford was not up to the task, but then he sometimes overlooks it. Let's bring him in. We don't have place. No, this is no nonsense. And Rashford should not even come back. So a good coach would see and know that this guy is not bad. He has pace. Sometimes he has a quality, but then it gets to his head. The cultural background is in there. He's arrogant. We all know why Rashford has not played for Manchester United since that Manchester derby. And that comes into that kind of player you want to be this time around. I mean, the times of Rio Ferdinand, the times of Paul Scholes, there was no social media. You had to focus on yourself. I mean, if you club, you had to be very good. The likes of Beckham were very good, and people didn't have issues with them. Hazard wouldn't go out there. You see, you can't go back. Sometimes you go to a point, people were comparing Hazard to Rashford. How would you do that? I mean, I'm a United fan, but you can't compare Hazard. Hazard was so talented, was so good. He didn't have to train that much, but then he delivered for the team. Rashford is pacey. He has some skills in him. Very good shots, but not. Rashford has a very bad control. You can't compare him to some of these players. And I think that just like Garnacho, Charlie overrated, bro. You have to do another one like this one. So for me, it comes with English players. It comes with English players, and he's not been consistent enough. He's been indisciplined. He has a talent, just like me. I can jump. I'm a good goalkeeper. I've not been disciplined now, so I'm here doing journalism. So I think that he's not been disciplined, and then the fame has gotten into his head, and he got to a point he started doing PR. He wanted to, let the coach know that he's ready to train hard. And no. If this is a good coach that we have, we are not letting him go, and he's going to fish out the bad nuts. Trust me, we are going to get to a point we might not even have English players in our team, because that's for English players. Them sharp, them sharp, bro. Them sharp. Charlie,
okay,
Rashford is overrated.
Jones,
He has
you
talent,
have
but
to
he's
wrap
overrated.
up here. But I want to finally get your final statement. Overrated or underrated? Rashford.
Overrated.
Princeton, overrated or underrated? Rashford.
Overrated.
Okay. I guess
the guy shan.
This is a clear finish. Rashford is overrated from here at over or under. Next week, we are doing another Manchester United player. So hopefully Jones will join us again for that. That is Anthony, who is on loan at Real Betis. So guys, thank you for watching Over and Under. We'll talk to you soon. See you.